One of the joys about The Informer is you get a chance to interview different people, talk to them about their life, their journeys and their challenges. Luke Stratford's in the studio, and the best part about Luke is he's got a story and a half, and it started so quietly. You thought you were going to be a water skiing champion, ended up in the United States. What happened there?
Well, that went well for a few years, but then I think I decided that water skiing wasn't going to, make me a living, so I needed to get a real job.
A real job.
So at that stage, I was working for my father as an apprentice electrician. So at that stage,
on hold. Apprentice electrician on hold.
Exactly. I had
skiing.
Exactly.
Right.
So I had the flexibility to be able to travel to America during their summers, and then come home to Australia and water ski and work during our summers.
And what happened?
And then from there, I guess I was a 20-year-old boy, and other things took over. Wide-eyed. I'd had some life experience, but I guess I wanted to settle back home for a couple of years. While I was living in Perth, a company I was working for over there, Austell Ships, I met a gentleman that had some connections in the oil and gas industry. And he said to me, mate, would you chance your arm over in the Middle East? Give that a chance. There's a few positions going. So I said, look, I'm happy to throw my hat in the ring. At that stage, I didn't really know what direction I wanted to take, so I was up for anything. And I spoke to the company, Neighbours Drilling. They were based out of Houston. And at the time they said, look, we'd love to give you a chance. We need people, but you don't have experience in the oil and gas industry. They were looking for people with experience.
But you were insistent that you could do something.
I did. I just thought, how's a kid going to get his break if, he never gets an opportunity? So I persisted, and I wrote them a large letter and told them that I was the person for the job. And fortunately for me, they came back, and I was successful in winning that position.
So you ended up in Muscat in Oman.
That was my first point of call. Yes. So Muscat, Oman was a bit different to the rivers of Florida, where I'd been previously.
Alibaba and the 40 Thieves and everybody else in between.
100%.
Did you enjoy it?
I did.
Was it a cultural shock for you, or did you at that time, being at that stage of your life, not a problem?
No, I was fairly worldly for 21, 22 because I'd been shipped off to America at a 15 age. So I'd been open to a lot of different things, and so it wasn't daunting for me, but it was still a different, like you said, it was a cultural shock because the Middle East is different to anywhere else in the world.
Very much so.
And the thing I love the most about Oman, and especially Muscat, it's got that authenticity that it really, and it's kept that all through the years. You go to places like Dubai, which we travelled through. There's a lot of new buildings and whatnot.
But you had itchy feet. You end up in Algeria next?
Well, for tax purposes. So they took away our benefits, our tax benefits, and they said, "Look, we can
scoundrels."
They said, "We know how to get around this. We'll send you to Algeria." Little did I know it was a war going on, and I got thrust into the middle of it.
Yeah. You should watch the news bulletins more often.
I should do my research. But anyway, that was a even more interesting experience. I was literally thrown into a war country, which I couldn't go from here over the road without machine guns, and I had assistance from the army.
Australia through a COVID-19 lockdown.
It's very similar. Similar. You couldn't leave your house without looking over your shoulder.
Gee.
So that was.
So what was your next stop? Where did you go from there?
Yep.
All the while gaining this invaluable experience that would hold you in good stead down the road.
Yep.
And was Dad cognizant of what was going on?
Look, he was, and at that stage it was my father and myself. It was just him and I in the business. So it was a much smaller business back then to what it is today. So I had the flexibility back then to be able to do all these things.
Wow.
But at that stage I decided I'd had enough. Algeria was a bit too much for me. I sort of was like, okay, park this.
Pull it back.
I think I need to go home for a little while. So I made that decision, and then that's when I met my future wife, my now wife, Holly.
Fantastic.
Which was great. So I was very settled back home then, and wasn't even thinking about the oil and gas industry or the Middle East or Africa for that means. So at that stage, I decided to just park it, be at home, and just grow a family. Holly got pregnant.
Yep.
We had a child.
That'll normally start a family.
It will start a family, and it did just that. But then an email came in out of nowhere. We heard you've got experience in Oman. I went back to Oman for 3 years after that, and then I decided I had my son. He was then 2 at the time, and I was like, this can't go on forever. My wife got pregnant again with our second child, and I said, look, I need to pull back.
You were persistent, what can I tell you?
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
So, and it was a busy time, but I had to make a decision. I knew that wasn't the life forever. I wanted to raise my family, and I wanted to, I saw really good growth opportunities with the business that Dad and I were in. So I said to Dad, look, I think it's time. He was happy where it was, and he didn't have any ambition to grow the business. But he was more than happy for me to take the reins.
But you could see the family growing,
exactly.
And you understood that meant responsibility,
exactly,
and costs down the road.
Exactly.
So let's shore up things as best you can.
Exactly.
So you were scouted to do what?
Well, at that stage, it was just to come back and start the business.
Right.
Yeah, start the business back at home. So that was the last thing. The last big decision I had to make on my life. But then from there, opportunities still came up with the oil and gas industry because of my experience. But for now, it was perfect because I was getting to mix my business with that industry. So it was for me, it was the best of both
So was it a
worlds.
case of you now heading off to Singapore, heading off to Asia,
Correct.
to fill these spots as a bit of a troubleshooter?
Correct.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say, yeah. So my experience with what I had done in the business back here in Australia
had given you the background.
Had given me the background, and then it was like trying to bring two worlds together, I guess. I was trying to bring my experience from what I'd learned in the business, which is quite niche, what we do here.
So the business is quality energy?
Correct,
So
yeah.
what do you guys do?
So we're an energy efficiency company and a power quality company.
Break that down for a novice like me.
So what we do, we go into a business and we'll audit a business and we'll work out ways to make that business run more efficiently from an electrical standpoint.
Okay.
And then we've got a range of different products.
So if I'm overusing my energy needs, we'll look at it. We'll say, hey, listen, you can cut $500,000 here.
Correct.
If you do this, this, and this.
This is right.
Or if you incorporate this,
Yep.
you can actually bring a whole lot more energy into the place.
Absolutely. It's about the energy you're using, making that more efficient to get a greater result. And at the end of the day, it's about getting results on your bottom line. So making businesses more profitable.
How hard is it to do business during this global pandemic?
Look, it's tough. For example, I was in Brunei back at the start of the year.
Another exotic
spot.
place,
yeah, offshore in the Middle East. Again, it's South China Sea that time. That was offshore on an oil rig out there. So they had some issues with their power quality. So they had pieces of equipment that were shutting down. So they got us they got myself in to have a look at the systems, do some auditing on their power system while they were running. And try and work out the best remedy. So the problem at the moment is though we're trying to implement those things and we can't travel. So
can't travel,
no.
And is there a problem with getting delivery systems put into place during this time as well?
Yeah, look, we manufacture a product and we import a lot of product from Spain, and there's definitely been delays. So that has been challenging. Spain obviously was one of the countries hardest hit, so we're having to deal with that at the moment. So your shipping costs and everything, and your shipping time has definitely, gone out, but we are dealing with that.
I've got to say,
Yep.
for a young 15-year-old water skier, you've done okay.
Thank
MD, Managing Director these days of Quality Energy. You've got to travel the world.
Yep.
You've got to learn so many different skills. But at the end of the day, the things that kept you in good stead and gave you the energy and the smarts to go forward were the attitude to try it on.
Yep.
Yeah. To basically try anything.
Yes.
Yes was a very big part of your makeup, and you were brave. There was a courage there that I think must come from Dad. Or Mum?
No, actually Mum.
Mum's the brave one.
Mum's the brave one, because Dad would have grown the business, but he chose not to, you see. Mum's no longer with us. I lost Mum last year, but yeah, so
Sorry
a lot of
to hear
those,
that.
no, that's okay. So a lot of those characteristics do come from her. She was the wild one.
Fantastic.
She was the yes one. So, and I've taken a lot of those attributes, and yeah, I like to think that we're trying to make a difference. I'm enjoying working with the people I do. I'm very lucky.
So what's next for Quality Energy?
So Quality Energy, look, we're growing as a business. We're a national business now. We've got an office in Brisbane.
Travelling again, huh?
Yeah, well, I didn't even fill you in on the time in Brisbane. I spent a few years there as well. So,
All right.
Yeah, but no, look, we're always looking to improve and grow and help more businesses. We get a lot of satisfaction out of that. We really try and make a difference, and we think we're doing that, and yeah, we'll continue to do that moving forward.
Luke, it's been a delight having you on The Informer.
Thank you,
Please come back and give us an update sometime soon on what the younger members of the Stratford family are doing.
I will.
And where Quality Energy is taking
Absolutely.
you and everybody else in it.
We appreciate that, George.
Good
Thank
on
you.
you.